Impact and likelihood risk prioritization. Impact and likelihood risk prioritization. Now, prioritizing and analyzing risks based on their impact and likelihood is a crucial aspect of risk management. And this process helps organizations focus their resources on the most significant and probable risks. Now, the following are step-by-step guide on how to prioritize and analyze risks. The first is identify risks, that is risk identification. The second is to define impact and likelihood criteria. The third is to quantify impact and likelihood. The fourth is to create a risk matrix. The fifth or the sixth is to calculate risk severity. Next, prioritize risks. Next, consider risk tolerance. Next again, review and adjust. Then develop mitigation strategies, and finally monitor and communicate. Now, risk identification or identify risks. Now, begin by identifying potential risks that could affect your project, organization, or initiative. This can be done through brainstorming sessions, historical data analysis, and expert interviews. Second, define impact and likelihood criteria. Now, clearly define the criteria for assessing the impact and likelihood of each identified risk. Now, each impact refers to the magnitude of the consequences if the risk event occurs, while likelihood refers to the probability of the risk occurring. Next, which is the third, is to quantify impact and likelihood. Now, use a numerical scale to quantify the impact and likelihood of each risk. For example, you can use a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 is low and 5 is high. This will provide a more structured way to assess and compare risks. The fourth is to create a risk matrix. Develop a risk matrix that incorporates the impact and likelihood scores. The matrix can be a simple grid with impact on one axis and likelihood on the other. This matrix helps visualize the overall risk profile and facilitates prioritization. The fifth is to calculate risk severity. Now, multiply the impact score by the likelihood score to calculate the risk severity. This combined score gives a more comprehensive view of the risks. Higher severity scores indicate risks that require more attention. Sixth, prioritize risks. Sort the risks based on their severity scores from highest to lowest. This prioritization helps in focusing on addressing the most critical risks first. Consider risk tolerance. Now, take into account the organization's risk tolerance and thresholds. And some organizations may be more risk averse, now while others may be willing to accept higher risks for potential higher rewards. The eighth, review and adjust. Regularly review and update the risk assessment as the project or situation evolves. New risks may emerge, and the impact or likelihood of existing risks may change. Develop mitigation strategies. Once risks are prioritized, develop mitigation strategies for high priority risks. These strategies may involve risk avoidance, risk reduction, risk sharing, or risk acceptance. Next, monitor and communicate. Implement a monitoring system to track the effectiveness of mitigation strategies. Regularly communicate the status of risks to stakeholders, and be prepared to adjust strategies as needed. Now, remember that risk management is an ongoing process, and it is important to be proactive in identifying, assessing, and addressing risks throughout the life of a project or operation.